slide. Yeah. So I visited Documenta 15 1 week before of its closing and found there were so many people visiting the show, forming long queues in front of exhibition venues like this. And then I was not able to see the Tarimpa did substantial solo show like presentation in the Hallenbad Ost because of this situation. If I had waited here, I would have like 2 hours. It will take 2 hours. So I gave up to go there, but people were really enjoying the Documenta 15. Like, this is a musical performance in front of the Friedrichsmuseum. And then the next one is a performance. So the people are hitting the vehicles and making the noise, rhythmical noise, and then it was really interesting. And then you might see the skateboarding inside of the Documenta Halle. And then also there are so many benches and cafes like living rooms throughout the venues. And so this is a kind of community space for people by collaboration of many art collectives. And then you might have visited the Cinema Caravan and Takashi Kuribayashi's steam sauna. And people are having the DJ party here with a bottle of beer. It was really interesting. And then also, I was really surprised by the babies' space and then also the children's space, where the children are really running around, cheering. And I'm so surprised this is Documenta. Yeah, so every time I visited Documenta, I found a very, very serious one, especially the 2070s one was super serious. So I'm really mind-blown. It was really mind-blowing. And yeah, so what I felt there was the sense of openness, euphoric atmosphere. And it was great to see that many of the exhibits were rooted from activities of community building. Those are a few examples. Wajuku Art Project is from a slum in Nairobi. Like this, so those artworks are not professional, but it was interesting. And then we found the story behind those artworks from the explanations. And then also Elocha was studied from Medina of Tunisia, creating furniture with local people by collaborative process using materials in surroundings in town and facilitating conversations between participants. Like this, it was really interesting. And then also the Brit Art Trust is from Dhaka, which is an attempt of understanding the turbulent socio-political situation in Bangladesh. And the first work from Pacific Islands is for LGBTQ plus community. And then also the project artworks from the UK is for people who are living and working in neurodiverse ways. So those artistic activities were produced by the people who really need it, which is the art to survive in the difficulties in the world today. So I was really impressed and energized and encouraged. So today I'd like to share my point of view, which is community and art and artistic movement or artistic genre in Japan. I was working on the field in the near past. And we often heard the following criticisms. Documenta 15 was nothing new. So those are the quotes from the podcast, the Week in Art, the Art Newspapers podcast. The personality Ben Luke and Jane Morris, the editor at large, had a conversation like this. This idea of social practice, that art is a social activity, is not a new one. Or they were definite with the 70s and the 60s in many places around the show. And then I would say I didn't find it as intellectually dense and stimulating as the 2017 one, but it's definitely got some energy, stuff like that. So it was really interesting, and these discourses remind me of a Japanese word, chiki art, translated as locality art or community art. The naming itself also has generated a debate, and it's going to be long if I talked about the debate. So today let me use community and art as a milder word. In short, community and art is the artwork or art project in which an artist or artist group collaborate with community residents to create something or simply do something. The history of community and art can date back 1950s or 60s, but the phenomenon gathered attention when Fujita Naoya, a critic, published a text, Zombies of the Avant-Garde, the problems with locality art, in which Fujita focused on regional art festivals such as Ichigo Tsumari Art Triennial, Aichi Triennial, and Yokohama Triennial. Those regional art festivals have spread the beginning of 21st century, and we have around 100 festivals throughout the country now. And this is a quote from Fujita Naoya's text. So 68 style art practices are getting sucked into Japan's countryside, oozing blood and guts. Zombies of the avant-garde are falling to pieces in rural rice fields. And I share some of his concerns about the way art is treated in regional art festivals in the name of regional revitalization. But on the other hand, it was kind of problematic that all regional art festivals, art projects, and other artistic activities outside of art museums were lumped together. And then also note that Fujita brings up the year 1968. This and the fact that the exhibit at Documenta 15 are described as reminiscent of the 1960s and 1970s kind of same, very equivalent, I would say. So those discourses have the idea that art must progress. That's why they found a kind of throwback or kind of deterioration in the art form in Document 15 or in community and art. So I researched this area with the curatorial team in Toward Art Center, curated a series of talks and one exhibition from 2017 to 2019, and published a book, Where is Cheeky Art, in 2020. For the talk, we invited people who have organized art projects outside of art museums, such as Koike Kazuko, founder of Sagacho Exhibit Space, said to be the first alternative space for contemporary art in Japan, and Hibino Katsuhiko, who has been developing art projects involving the general public throughout Japan since the 1980s. What was spoken there was a strong desire to have a place for expression between art museum and commercial gallery. That is something between the public institution, the public education system, and the market system. And those are some words from the talk. And then Koike-san said, like, I started Sagacho Exhibit Space while advocating the word alternative because museums at the time didn't open their doors to new artists at all. And other participants, Ogawa-san, he is a director of private art center in Tokyo, art center ongoing. He said there aren't really many places in Tokyo. Still, there aren't really many places in Tokyo where artists can freely present experimental works of art. So he's organizing art center until now, over 10 years. And other participants, they are basically artists. And Nakamura-san said, what I believe important is not the mechanism of things or systems, but the physical culture that is naturally and unknowingly acquired. So he said the environment is very important. And other participant, Hibino-san, he's now the president of Tokyo University of the Arts. I suppose that from around this time, which means earlier stage of his career, I had the desire to meet people, show people, and directly witness their reaction. So those are really interesting. And then, like the Kinoshita-san is an art producer in Osaka. She has a remark. It's like conclude the talks. I believe that such activities were fueled by a real sense of urgency and individual circumstances, as well as feelings of having no choice but to do so, a significant measure premises. And then we organized an exhibition inviting two artists and one art collective. Kitazawa Jun brought vehicles from Indonesia, where he is currently living and working, and led toward the citizens to use those vehicles, along with designing playful activities with those people. And then Nadegata Instant Party is an art collective who encourages local people to do voluntary activity by fabricating a sort of excuse. This time they invited people to make a virtual museum inside of the exhibition hall. But as you see, the virtual museum is very DIY things, but people really enjoy it. And then Fuji Hiroshi. He is such an important figure of this art area. He has worked with people throughout the country for over 30 years, produced numerous interesting art projects, including the Kaiko Bazaar, a barter system of toys in which children play roles of an operator, not only being participants. In the exhibition, Fuji and I wrote a novel together depicting the time when Fuji was an art college student in Kyoto in the late 70s to early 80s. And young Fuji shifted from team working to theatrical performance and then to the activities in the town. So what these artists have done is not an activity that aims for beauty or spectacularity, nor something to add a page to art history by offering a sharp critique of contemporary art. Mm-hmm. Rather, it is an activity that explores outside of the educational system of museums and outside of capitalism. I and toward the team gently presented the value of such activities, saying this kind of activity also exists in the world. But in the Documenta 15, on the other hand, Documenta 15 presented many practices of the art collectives from all over the world, as if they were saying the visibility has never been enough. Ruangrupa invited 14 art collectives, and the collectives invited more artists. And the number of the artists reached 1,000, I've heard, 1,000 something. And it was very significant that this happened in documenta, which is considered the pinnacle of contemporary art curating. So here I would like to pose the question. For exhibit that look like they are from the 1960s or 70s, is that actually old? So in this, where is local art project, Hoshino Futoshi shared this diagram in the concluding talk. The community on art we have been discussing, says Hoshino, has local, regional, and site-specific aspects. Its opposite concepts are global, and then universal and portable, respectively. And then the quality of global and universal and portable, the quality that have been valued in the modernism. So, is community on art considered to be something belong to pre-modern? But we put the question, he put the question mark just after the pre-modern. And then we had a discussion, and Hoshino and I, while recognizing the modern value of art, still considered the local, regional, and site-specific as essential, very essential today, as a resistance to extreme capitalism. And also it is thought to be a practice of decolonization. So decolonization in Japan might sound strange, but in this country, the modernization was conducted in a way of self-colonization. Especially in the cultural and artistic spheres, it has created a situation in which the indigenous culture and long existed sense of beauty have been pushed aside. So in the Where is Cheeky Art book, I talked about my hypothesis that community on art may have been accepted and loved as a way for people who have been damaged by Japan's self-colonization process to take art back into their own hands. So, in the conclusion, considering the reality of various places around the world, I feel that the idea that art must progress in a straight line is a one-sided view from a mainstream art history. Of course, every human being can only see things from where they stand. In that sense, it might be better for us to view art history as something flowing backwards. So since we live in a world with many kinds of modernization, many kinds of colonization and decolonization, I think it is necessary to have the sensitivity to face and try to read various realities and to improve our sensitivity. So the documenta 15 emphasized that aspect. So this is my viewpoint. Thank you.